the 23rd of June, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Give me a minute, we'll start.
Okay, it's on.
Thank you, Lou. Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Chamanavchi. This is our second shir in the morning. We're learning in the Mishnah Berura Chelik 2 of the Mishnah Berura, Nesias Kapayim, Kuf Lamed Aleph. And I believe we'll, in the Mishnah Berura's here. Let's see. We're going to begin now. Okay, yeah, actually, Sif base in the Mechaber Sif base. Let's review that, and then we'll continue with the Mishnah Berura. Yeah, who would like to read? Elizabeth Street would like to read Sif Kuf Lamed Aleph Sif base. We did a bit part of this yesterday, a bit.
No problem. Okay, Nefilas Apayim, falling on your face. Miyushav is sitting alone the Umad and not standing. Miyushav, Kosa Beis Yosef, the Beis Yosef writes, Shetamhu al derech hakabbalah, that the reason for this is from tradition, Uberivash Kosav She'ein Kapeda, and the Rivash writes that we're not strict about this.
Right.
Kosva Achronim, the Achronim write, B'shas Hatchak, in times of distress, Nuchol Smoke al Harivash. You're allowed to rely on you're able to rely on the Rivash. Al Kain Im Siyam Tefillah also. If you have finished your tefillah, V'tzarech La'amod al Kol Panim Kedei Hiluk Dal Amid. You've taken your steps back and you have to wait until the time you could have walked Dalet Amos. The Kodem Shiur Zeh, Hiskil Hatzibur Lomer Tachnan. And in the midst of this time that you're waiting, the Tzibur has begun to say Tachnan, Yamod Sham Bimkomo, you stay in your place, Yifal Al Panavid, and you fall on your face, Ma'ud Ima Tzibur. And you stand with the Tzibur. I think I said 3 contradicting things in that last statement.
Okay, let's analyze it. Okay, so it says, so Shas Techaki can be Soimach on the Rivash. Okay, therefore, Im Siyam Tfilasoi, it's Tzurich La'amed Al Kol Panim Kedei Hiluk Al Ames. A lot of people don't know this, that when a person finishes a Shmon Esrei and takes 3 steps back, right? He's not supposed to return to his place where he davened right away. There's a Gemara based on a Gemara in Brachas, right? And you're really supposed to wait the amount of time it would take the shots, or perhaps yourself, to finish up until your first 2 brachas of Shmon Esrei, meaning until you would get to the bracha of
Kedusha.
Yeah, so Kedusha. Right, so you're supposed to wait that amount of time, which I once timed it with a friend of mine, Yaakov Fried, about 40 seconds worth. 40 seconds. You should really wait for 40 seconds, but even if you're davening by yourself, right? You should wait. But minimally, that's what the Mishnah Berura. That's what the Mishnah Berura uses an expression al kol panim, at least. Right, the time it takes for Dalet Amos, meaning even if they're going to be doing something, you shouldn't rush back to the spot where you daven, right? You should wait minimally, al kol panim, at least the time it takes to walk Dalet Amos, which is could be 3-4 seconds, perhaps something.
Yeah.
Like that, right. So, but so let's say you can't, because now what happened? He just finished his Shmon Esrei, and now what's happening? That he's supposed to stand there for that amount of time of Kedei Hiluk Dal Ames. The Kodem Shir Zeh, before this time arrived or finished, Hitkil Tzibur Lomer Tachanun. So the Tzibur began to say Tachanun. So what should he do? Amad Sham Bimkomo, V'yibol Panav. He should stand in his place and then just put his hand over his face over his arm, bury his arm into his face into his arm, standing there. Va'amid sham, and stand there. Imit tzibur.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
So
That may, okay,
curious, after you finish your Shemona Esrei, isn't there Hasaras Hashas?
right, but this is after Chazaras Hashatz. You're taking a very long Shemona Esrei, and the Chazan has finished Chazaras Hashatz, and the Tzibur at that point is ready to be in Tachan, and you just finished your Shemona Esrei.
Okay, so that's a very unusual situation, right?
Depends on where you daven. I know people who do that. I know people who don't finish their silent Shemona Esrei till the Chazan is finishing the Chazaras Hashatz. Happens every day.
But
Yeah,
that's-
sometimes you can have a very quick minyan. The minyan davens very quickly, and you happen to take a little bit longer, and so you don't necessarily finish your complete Shemona Esrei until the tzibur is already finished with the Chazaras Hashatz. If it happens, you're not saying it should happen. Not saying it's. But if it does happen, this is what you should do.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Continuing in Mishnah Berura, v'chein im acher omed negdo mispalel Shemona Esrei, that after you are standing from after saying Shemona Esrei, v'aser leyesh omrim leishev negdo afilu b'melo einav.
And this is a very common situation also. This is very common, and it just proves the point. Let's say you finish your Shemona Esrei, and now it's time for Tachon. I mean, you finish your Shemona Esrei, and the Shatz has finished his Shemona Esrei, Hazoras Shatz, and there's still somebody davening behind you. He's still going strong. He's still holding in Choynein Das. And he's gonna be davening another 20 minutes, right? And so what are you supposed to do? You can't back up into his Dalet Amos, even Malainav, and certainly you can't sit. Malainav, you can't sit in front of him. So what are you supposed to do?
The Efshalo Lelech Litstadim, and it's impossible to walk to the side. Yipo Alpon of Amud. Then you lean, you put your face into your arms while you're standing. The can't call Kahai Gavna in all similar cases. If you okay.
So in other words, you're going to say Takun standing until he finishes.
That's right. You're not even going to back up until it finishes. It might be mint. He's going to dive until minta time. You can't back up, and you'll be eating your lunch there.
Lou, it happens. There are people who daven like that.
Yeah, right. I tell you, I don't hesitate telling them that there's plenty of room up at the front. They can go to the front and daven next to the kaiso, the wall, and they don't bother anybody that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Isn't there a
So,
principle that if somebody is being very is causing great inconvenience, that you don't have to follow the principle of not interfering with him?
The only time I've seen a reference to that is if a person davens, he started davening in a place where it's like it's one of the aisles or it's a doorway. It's not a place where when you're not supposed to daven. It's like what they call the Rishus Harabim. It's the public thoroughfare of the shul, right? But if he happens to be unfortunately davening behind you in a place where he can daven, then you're kind of stuck.
I see. Okay.
They say I didn't see the truth inside, but they say there was a ma'aser from Rav Moshe Feinstein Zechron Uvracha that they had daven mincha or something like that, and somebody came late and he started davening in the doorway, and he effectively locked everybody into the room, right? So a lot of people passed by him, but Rav Moshe, he waited until till he finished it. And it was supposed to be a meeting after he was davening and then going to a meeting. So the meeting was being delayed now. So they asked for Moshe, that the person here is davening in the middle of the doorway and things like this. Says, why did you? Says, I'm sorry. There's a wall there. I can't walk there. There's a wall there. But so even though that in theory, the Tzitzis Eliezer, that was the Rav Aldenberg that we were learning with the Gillis Rus about the Rus Girus. Rav Aldenberg says if a person davens in a public thoroughfare, he has a din of a kever b'reshus harabim. That there's a halach if a person was for some reason, strangely enough, buried in a reshus harabim in a public thoroughfare, and therefore people can't use that thoroughfare because first of all, you're not supposed to walk over a kever, and it could be tumah involved as well. So you take the body out, you exhume the body, and rebury it somewhere else. So he says there, if a person's davening in a place where he's in the reshus harabim of the shul, in the aisles or the doorway, two people can pick him up, and just move him to someplace else.
Right. Yeah, I think I heard something like that also. Okay, but that only applies under those circumstances. If he's in a proper place, then you can't do that.
Yeah, if you're in a proper place, you're stuck. Yeah.
But he's in a proper place. He's not disturbing anybody, no matter how long he davens.
Yeah, I mean that's look. He's
disturbing the person in front of him.
Yeah.
That's not a proper place then. You're supposed to give somebody Dalet Amos when he davens. You should not stand directly in front of or directly behind somebody. When you establish a place to daven, you nominally have Dalet Amos around there, so you can step forward and step back without interfering with anybody. Somebody who walks into your Dalet Amos is encroaching upon you. It's not proper.
That's just, you're right. He's not doing properly, but once he's done it, you're kind of stuck. It's one of the sore spots of davening in the minyan. That unfortunately it's not so good. So people that daven long, they should realize that they should be careful to daven in places where they won't be disturbing people. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go back to the upstairs to the Machar. This is in the Ramah now, right?
Okay, up to Haggah.
Yeah.
Yesh Omrim, the Ein Nefilas Apayim, welcome to Yesh Aron v'Sefer Torah B'Tocho. There are those who say that you don't fall on your face except in a place where there's an Aron and a Sefer Torah inside of it. Although below Zeh Omrim Techina below Nesias Kapayim. But if there's not an Aron with a Sefer Torah inside of it, you just say Tachlin standing.
Right.
V'chein Nogim, and that is our practice.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow all of that. If there's no Torah in the room, then what do?
You
Right,
can say Tachlin standing.
Right. You don't put your face down onto you don't even bury your face into your arm. Right. I guess you can sit. Right.
But it's not required. It's not required.
Right.
If you get a minyan together where you're not davening in a base Knesset or a base Medrash, so there's no Sefer Torah there,
right,
and you get to Tachlin, you don't have to. You can say the Tachlin standing at that point.
Right.
Or sitting.
Or sitting.
But
there's no requirement to do Nesias Apayim.
Right. You don't cover your face. Right. So let's say you're out on a camping trip. So you got yourself a minyan there. Right. So you're out there and you want to daven mincha. So you daven mincha and you don't. There's no nefilas kapayim. You don't have to put your head into your arm. And you could even stand. Whether you sitting is probably okay. You could probably sit. Now it is. Now you're not supposed to do it, right? Talking of below, we'll have to see whether or not you're not supposed to do it. Or is it a reshus or is it a prohibition?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, we'll see. Let's see the Mishna Berura.
Mr. Berura, okay. It's Aron with Sefer Torah B'toko, an Aron with a Sefer Torah inside of it. Aron lav dafka, the Aron itself is not required. Who adin Sefer Torah lechud die. That even if it was just a Sefer Torah, that would be enough to acquire Nesias Apayim.
Right, so you don't need,
The Tama Yesh
both,
Omrim,
right?
and the reason for the Yesh Omrim is Shum de Matzinu Bekra Remez Shenefilahi Lifnei Aron Hashem. Because we see a remez in the pasuk that the nefila was done before the Aron of Hashem. Uchtiksiv be'milchemes
I guess.
ha'ai, or the battle of Ai in
Yeah.
Yeshua.
That's Yeshua, right, exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Vayipol al panav lifnei Aron Hashem. They fell on their faces before the Aron of Hashem. The ancient Sefer Torah rock Shar Sfarim, but if there's no Sefer Torah, just other Sfarim there, Dasa Area Rabba, Derech HaChaim, the Lo Yipal Al Panav. That according to the Area Rabba and the Derech HaChaim, you do not do Nesias Apayim. Rak Yamad Hamizmor below Nefilas Apayim. You just stand and say the Psukim without doing Nefilas Apayim. Yesh Cholka Bezen, there's people who argue on this. Malcolm Sefer Torah, Kuli Alma, Afilu Yachid Beveso, Nofel Al Pav. And in the place where there is a Sefer Torah, everybody agrees, even if somebody's davening by themselves in their house where they have a Sefer Torah, then you do Nesias Apayim.
Right. Good. Okay, and now you do it without with base, kisuyat panim, without covering the face. You do it without covering the face.
Okay, back into the Ramah. V'chatzer Beis HaKnesses, HaPesucha, the Beis HaKnesses, and the courtyard of the Beis HaKnesses that's open to the Beis HaKnesses. Oh, B'shar Tzibur Mispalel, or at the time the Tzibur itself is praying. Azafil Yachid Beveso, even a Yachid praying in his house. He's Omer Techina Be Nefilas Apayim. He says Tachin with Nefilas Apayim.
Right.
So it says if you're davening in the courtyard of the shul, or you're davening at the time that Tzibur is davening, but you're davening at your home, then you still do Nefilas Apayim.
Right.
Even if there's no Torah in your home.
Even if there's no Torah in your home, correct.
Huh.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Okay, in Mr. Brewer, Yud Beis.
Good.
Yud Beis, Kisu Payim, you cover your face. Who Nefilas Apayim Shalom, that is what we could call Nefilas Apayim. The Chatzer Beis HaKnesses Pesuach, and the courtyard of the Beis Knesset that's open into the Beis Knesset. Hainu, that is the Beis Shehis Parallel B'Chatzer Have Pesach Beis HaKnesses Pesuach. At the time you are davening in the courtyard, there's a doorway to the Beis HaKnesses that is open. The Nuchal Lirot may also tzad makom Aaron. It's possible to see from that place the Aaron inside the Beis HaKnesses. It's like you're praying in front of the Aaron.
Right.
Which is not the case if you're praying in other corners of the courtyard. Pesach, Beis HaKnesses, B'Mariv, Azara Nimsheches, Gam Letzad Darom, but you're praying on the south. Whom is Palasham, and you pray there. The Ain't Sham Sefer Torah, there's no Sefer Torah there. Ain't Sarach Nefilas Apayim, you don't need to do Nefilas Apayim. V'uadin im Haya Pesach Beis HaKnesses Na'o, and this is certainly the case or this is the din if the door to the Beis HaKnesses is closed. Afilu mispal b'chatzer negdo, even if you pray in the courtyard next to it. Ain't soft to feel apayim. You do not need to do it in the field apayim. Kasva achronim, the achronim right. Imhu mispal b'zersus nashim. If you daven zersus nashim, gam kain tzarich the field apayim. You surely do in the field apayim. Kivin sheyuchal lirot me hahoronos makom haaron, because you're allowed to see through the windows the place where the aron is.
So if
You
you're in a different room, but you can see, then it's considered as if you're in the same room? Is that what we just said?
If you can see the aron, from where you are, then it's considered as if you're in the Beis Knesset itself.
Is that true for davening in general, or just for falling on your face?
What's your question? What do you mean for davening in general?
You want to be considered part of the
As
minyan?
part of the minyan?
Yeah.
So those are complicated. Those are very complicated halachas. Depends if there's a doorway in between. There's a whole siman in Shulchan Aruch earlier in the first volume, Mr. Berura goes into whether you can starve. Let's say you have 6 people in one room and 4 people in another room. Are they considered one minyan or not? Right.
Right.
So
I had understood that you were not. If you're in the situation I asked about one time was there's too many people in the shul. It's too crowded. So there's a door leading into the shul from outside, which you call the courtyard, and you're standing outside next to the doorway. So you can see in, and you're standing next to other people, but you're not actually in the shul.
right.
And my understanding was that you're not part of the minyan in that scenario.
Yeah, I would say that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we're saying, but for the purpose of falling on your face, you do fall on your face because the Torah is visible to you.
Right.
Okay.
So there's, and now if I was told that Yerushalayim, it's considered whether you have you can be doing the fields fine, whether you have a Sefer Torah, whether you don't have a Sefer Torah. I haven't seen it inside. I was told that Yerushalayim is considered to be that there's always a Sefer Torah wherever you are. I'm not sure how much of this Yerushalayim they're considering is. Maybe just the old city. It's all of Yerushalayim going all the way out to remote. I have no idea, but I once heard that, and but I haven't looked extensively to find it. Maybe I'll have a chance over the next few days. Maybe beginning of next week, I'll be able to find a core for that. But that would change the halacha here in Yerushalayim and to a drastic extent. Okay, I guess we'll stop here. Time is about up. Yeah, and we'll continue next time, Mr. Shem.
Okay.
Thank you,
Have a
Rabbi.
good,
Okay.
have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
See you tomorrow. Have a good day. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Rory. Lou, and thank you, Mayor Laser Tzvi. Does everyone know, is Barry okay? Anyone here from Barry?
I didn't hear anything one way or the other.
Okay, I haven't seen him a couple of days. I'll try and send him a message. Okay, we know that.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
Have a good day.
Okay,
All right, bye-bye.
bye now.
Meir, what did Rabbi Levitt do yesterday? Did he host?
I think he did. You know, I honestly don't remember. We did have a shear, so I guess he was hosting. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll assume he's hosting. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Very
See you
good.
later.
Okay, bye now.